So thank you for coming to Forum this morning. As you know, I'm going to give you this long title because it kind of means something to me. This whole thing started out as Welcome Home Montrose. And then it morphed into Welcome Home Alliance for Veterans and Warrior Resource Center. So it's been around 6 years, 7, 8. Wow, Melanie, we're getting older, aren't we? I'm not going to talk too much about it because I know they have amazing things to tell you. I just want to talk to you about our 4 presenters.
All right.
Are we getting it, Raymond? Okay, Melanie Klein. She's the president and founder. Again, 8 years ago. She founded Welcome Home Montrose in 2012, inspired by a news story about a program to assist the recovery of injured veterans through sports activities. Mrs. Klein saw a need to assist returning veterans not only to integrate smoothly into non-military life, but to thrive in that life. In the process of developing Welcome Home Montrose, she researched similar efforts around the country, held focus groups with dozens of community organizations to gauge their potential for support, and proceeded to build a model organization. Mrs. Klein's organizational skills and passion for assisting veterans has created an organization that has garnered national attention. She is currently involved in the details of a Welcome Home Montrose affiliate program. In no particular order, okay? Amy Eifling, treasurer, a retired career Marine. Amy has served as the volunteer coordinator at the Warrior Resource Center for 3 years. Her experience in fundraising, community relations, and health wellness, coupled with her deep understanding of military culture, brings much to her contributions to this organization. Amy also brings her personal experience as a disabled veteran to the Welcome Home Montrose board. Oh, Mike Turkey. The thorn among all these roses, right? A little sidelight, by the way. We were talking earlier. Amy, Melanie, and I'm looking at the wrong people, and April, and I are all distinguished women. And so we were laughing about, so the distinguished women and Mike. We think maybe we should nominate him just to see what will happen. Mike Turkey is a former Marine airplane mechanic. He took the helm as Welcome Home Montrose Executive Director in September 2017 after serving as the volunteer fundraising coordinator. After his time in the military, Mike spent his career as an environmental specialist for the Cherry Creek School District in Denver. Mike's keen sense of our mission, his skills in community relations, and his personable leadership style make Mike a valuable asset to our board of directors. And lastly, April Hurd. I don't know April quite as well, you see. April is the administrative assistant. She's an Army veteran, spouse of a 21-year retired Army combat veteran, daughter of a Vietnam veteran, and granddaughter of 2 World War II era Army veterans. She has experience in working with veterans. So thank you all for being here this morning. Let's hear what these delightful people have to say.
Hi, I'm Melanie. I'm the first one she introduced, and I'm the founder of this organization, and I'm so proud. And I'm here to tell you that we've never had a better team. I am so excited to be serving with April and Amy and with Mike, and they're doing great. And I want you to know that 8 years in, we are, as an organization, doing fantastic and proud of it. And veterans in Montrose County have never been better because of us. You know, when we very first started, I had an idea that because the life in the Western Colorado is so awesome, and we love it here so much, that maybe with all the activity, the recreation, the adventure, and all that we have here and that we enjoy, it would be healing for veterans that were having difficulty thriving in their own communities, and that if we could organize as a community to be able to meet the needs of anyone who'd ever served in the military, no matter their abilities or disabilities, that they could thrive here. And so we've worked hard for 8 years to make it so. Instead of just talking about a dream, today it is so. And I'm really, really proud of that. So I want you to know what you can expect from us this morning. We have a short presentation about, in general, what we do over at the Warrior Resource Center and why, and that's going to be presented to you by Mike Trickey, and he'll follow me. We're really excited because we're just coming off of a huge adventure called Mission No Barriers. So we're all exhausted. The last of our guests from Mission No Barriers who flew in to participate in our adventure week just left on Sunday. None of the people that you see right this minute presenting to you have slept since Sunday. So, or maybe for 3 weeks. For 3 weeks.
6 months?
6 months. Because we've been just so active. And so we're gonna, April's gonna tell you about our Mission No Barriers event and the success and the great time that people had. Amy's going to take a minute to tell you about what we do for spouses and military families over at the Warrior Resource Center. And one of the things, we said that she was treasurer, which is true, on our board, but she's also our volunteer coordinator. And everyone, well, not me, because I'm usually not at the Warrior Resource Center, but between Mike, April, and Amy, anytime a veteran in need walks in the door, everything stops and everybody helps. Whether they need housing, whether they need food, whether they just need to cry, or they need direction, or they need to be directed to Sheldon Smith, our veteran service officer. All 3 of these people hold up this organization and support veterans at the drop of a hat every minute. And we do see a lot of veterans in need. But again, I'm happy to tell you, much less now that 8 years later we have solved, are solving, and made partnerships with a lot of support. And so on that note, and then after that we'll have a time for a question and answer. So we'll try to be brief with our presentations, but we do want to show you some great photos from Mission No Barriers and Operation Song that we just put together. And I can't even tell you the hundreds of people who came together to support this, and we haven't had a chance yet to develop the list because it's so extensive, so you won't see that, but we watch the newspaper to see. You'll be really amazed at the businesses and individuals who have come together to support veterans in our community. So now, Mike Trickey.
Good morning. Wow, we got a lot of background on this. I'd like to just, as Melanie mentioned, just go through a few things that we do at the Resource Center that you may not be aware of, and how we support our veterans through different programs. And let's go ahead. We begin with our mission statement.
You're close to the speaker. I'm getting in front of the speaker.
Everybody got that? Okay, can you hear me now? That sounds better. Thank you. Start with some statistics here about veteran suicide. Right now, it's still an average of 20 to 22 a day nationwide are taking their lives through suicide. This little bottom statement right here represents the rate increase faster among veterans who have not recently used Veterans Health Administration. That's about 70% right now. And you can see the reasons why, some of the main reasons why suicide does occur as a result of military service. a big issue with a lot of our veterans. Where are they going to eat? Where are they going to find their food? And I know right now in our community there's some issues going on with that, and hopefully they'll be resolved in quick order. But working with Shepherd's Hand, we're able to provide some emergency meals for them as they need it. They return to a civilian public whose sporadic attention to veterans largely fails to comprehend or acknowledge the experiences they have absorbed on our behalf. Unable or unwilling to share their emotions, some veterans choose isolation, depriving their families, colleagues, communities, and their presence, their skills, and their insights, which is a loss for all of us. The VASH vouchers, we now have 14 available to us as they become available. One of the problems with that, of course, is the housing itself. As we all know, it's pretty limited here in the Montrose area for housing. The rental part is very difficult. So, the mental health care providers, the Center for Mental Health here in town is doing an outstanding job. We're working pretty close with them on a couple of different programs right now to help assist veterans. They are, their staff is looking at ways to improve their ability to communicate with veterans. Some of us, it's kind of hard to communicate with. But anyway, I like the way they're approaching the support that they're going to be giving us as far as any mental health needs that come up. I think for any veteran, most of these things are true. When they come home after your service, many questions. The big thing about it is if you can understand, especially the Vietnam era veterans, we were during the time of the draft. So as we left high school, if we weren't able to go into college, like many of us didn't have that opportunity, it was just a matter of time before the draft called us up. So as a result, you go right into the service, and from the home environment, 18 years old, you go right into the military, and you begin your career in that. Once you get out, though, the realization of how to accept and get into civilian life becomes quite a challenge at times. One of the things we try to do there at the Resource Center is help veterans get from the military back to civilian life by building a bridge to help them understand what they're supposed to do, how to fit in, how to succeed as a civilian. We firmly believe that it is the community's responsibility to help support that need. And from what I've seen over the past few years, being involved with the Resource Center, this is one of the strongest communities around that helps the veterans return to civilian life. Put in that need. And there you are. So out of the Welcome Home Lines for Veterans came the Resource Center. And that's indeed what we are. We have many resources available to us through the community, through government agencies. So generally, whatever a veteran needs, we are able to direct them to those services, and in such a way that they get the services they need in a quick time. The Sea of Goodwill. Melanie, we want to chat a minute about the Sea of Goodwill and and what that represents for them.
You see a term up there called the Sea of Goodwill, and that's a general term for all the different nonprofit organizations whose mission is to give veterans, military families, service members, active duty, a chance to do things like skydiving and scuba diving and skiing, and they send them for a high adventure. But the concern is what happens when they come home from high adventure. I know when I go on a vacation or I have a thrill, I often have a crash afterwards. And part of the concern, I was talking to Houston Cowan, he's the founder of Challenge Aspen that brings veterans in to ski in Aspen, and he told me that he was really concerned about if they were even doing the right thing, because they show them Aspen and it's glamorous and they ski and offer this opportunity and then send them back home to maybe play video games in an apartment in Chicago where these opportunities aren't available to them. And is that a good thing? Is the crash worse than the high? And I thought that was really interesting, because what we're trying to do here in Montrose that's different from the Sea of Goodwill is to have it be all those adventures available on your own. Accessible, no matter your physical ability, but to be able to be independent instead of having to wait for some organization to take you fly fishing or to take you scuba diving. Come and do it, it's all right here. And that's the difference between us and the Sea of Goodwill. And that's what I think is so impressive about our community and the groups that have come together to provide those opportunities and to show the veterans who come and visit, like at Mission No Barriers, what they could do if they lived here or visited here, that this community is prepared for them to do it every day and not have to go home and crash. That's the difference between us as a community, an organization that supports veterans by the community, rather than a nonprofit organization of a handful of people who provide an experience, and that I think is one of the things that we can be so proud of. We did not find a model like we've become when we were looking for how this community could grow and do this. So is that what you want to make about this?
Beautiful. Well done.
So much of those adventures do build self-esteem and like that. Gets people back together in group settings, among themselves and other veterans, so that they can have those experiences, and also the camaraderie that goes with it. We just finished up, as we've been mentioning, our No Barriers weeks, past 2 weeks. In April, we'll go into that a little further detail later on. This is a photo when we opened up the water park, if you all remember that, in 2015, I believe it was. A lot of our veterans were here. We had 3 or 5 blind veterans that actually came down. Steve Vasquez right here. Steve is from Illinois, and he decided, as a result of his experiences through the program, No Barriers program, he'd like to live here. So Homes for Our Troops, if many of you remember, Homes for Our Troops built him a home here. Last year he was given the keys. Also, through that same program, another veteran learned about our area and was really excited about coming here through Homes for Our Troops. And we just recently, July 13th, he was awarded the keys to his new home just south of town. And that was Lieutenant Nick Morris. Our Operation Stand Down, this is just a little poster from last year. We'll be doing it again this October. The Stand Down was a concept used during the Vietnam War to provide safe retreat for units returning from combat operations. And what that is we have many supplies that we get from the VA at our Grand Junction, so that any veterans in need can come and get re-outfitted with clothing, camping gear. Also talk with representatives direct from the VA through all different types of services, medical, housing, legal, and like that. We also have, recently, we were able to give them flu shots, so many things that they need. And we do have veterans that homeless veterans that live in our area. They choose to. And we're just there whenever they need something. And it's throughout the year too, so it's not just one day of the year. Coffee, I can't tell you enough about what that means to our veterans. We have a coffee at our resource center every week on Thursday mornings from 8 to 10, just for veterans. Right now, it's a kind of a slow time for us, given the summer and everything. We're averaging right at 90 veterans. We also do a remote coffee in Cedar Ridge once a month, also in Ridgeway and in Nucla. So we do take our programs out on the road as well to support veterans in those areas. This represents some of our activities ongoing. We have our spouses luncheon. We have Wives of Warriors that meet regularly as well. And Amy will talk about those after a bit. You know, that first one there about how we've successfully inspired individuals, groups, and businesses, that wasn't a very difficult task. Again, our community of Montrose is just so awesome with the support that they've given us throughout the years and continues to. We like to give a little more of our time through the community, give back a little bit. These represent some of that. Our little potlucks, Memorial Day celebrations. And we're out there, I think the bottom on the right there is our time out at the tribute to aviation, and like that as well. Gives us an opportunity to talk to the community at large. One of the ways that we keep the lights on is our business window sticker program. Businesses in the community have the opportunity to work with us in supporting veterans through products and service discounts that they give for $100 a year. Every veteran that signs up with us is given a dog tag, and that dog tag shows the business that they are indeed part of our program and are eligible for any of the project services or whatever they have for us. The Got Your Six program, that's the way individuals can serve. It's an automatic deduction every month. So please ask more about that. Our volunteers last year, you can see just how important they are to the success of our program. You know, in my position, I get to see I have the opportunity to see just how valuable the volunteers are in our community that step up. And this past month, is that? Okay. Speaker. This past month was so impressive. We don't have all the numbers yet, but as we are accumulating them, and we will let everybody know through the paper and other ways, but you'll see just how exciting it is to live in this community and have the support as veterans, knowing that you all have our back. Okay. Yes.
Next slide.
There's the Brucey Fortson. Sheldon Smith is our Veteran Service Officer. He is in our office 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. It's very important that he's there because the veterans feel comfortable seeing him at our facility. There's a little photo of some soldiers in Afghanistan. Monday, I'll get through this. Last Monday, 2 servicemen were killed in Afghanistan. So that brings the total of military personnel killed since the war started 18 years ago, 2,374. That particular conflict represents quite a difference from others, previous types of engagement. So we're seeing a lot more difficulty with some of the veterans coming back and trying to reintegrate back into civilian life. So please, don't forget they're out there. They're out there every day. So that's about all I have. Amy?
Yes.
Now we're going to hear from Amy Eifling about the volunteer program.
I've never, this is very strange. My job is volunteer coordinator. Can you hear me now? A little louder. Louder? Oh, okay. Thank you, Kylie. So my job is to collect volunteers and assist April when she's putting together these amazing programs. I'm very fortunate because when we need something, we put out the word and it floods in. People come in, food comes in, clothes come in. And we've really seen a lot of it over the past month or so doing No Barriers. I finished logging the volunteer hours for just the center, not all of the people that helped. And in just the center in the month of July, we logged over 1,000 hours of volunteer hours, which is a huge amount of hours for us. I also do the spouses luncheon, which is very important because we need our wives to know that there's a place that they can go and just get to know other wives. And we do that once a month, and so if you're a wife, please see me and I'll tell you all about it, because it's just a nice afternoon with other wives. The other program that we are really proud of is our Wives of Warriors. So we do a lot to take care of our veterans, but sometimes there are wives that just need a little extra support. And this is a group of women that come together faithfully. They meet with a mental health professional out of Grand Junction, where they're able to say, my husband's kind of a jerk, is yours? And it's a support system. And it allows them to get through not just the immediate coming home that veteran may face, but it's the family. So we need to support our wives and their children because they're all trying to put themselves back together. And that's kind of what we do. Is that all I do, Mike?
Yeah.
That's all I do. I do everything else. Yeah. So thank you. If you're interested in volunteering, please see me. I have lots of really fun things. It's really an honor to get to work with these people. We have the best volunteers in Montrose. They just blow me away on a monthly basis. So if you have come in and helped us, thank you, thank you, thank you. And come in and see us for other stuff because we've got a lot going on. Big summer coming up. So thank you.
April's going to show you some pictures and tell you about her experience. This was her first time being in charge of a Mission No Barriers event. Mission No Barriers it's called that because what we needed to do to inform our work plan was to find out what barriers we have in our community if you're trying to do recreation and adventure and you have a disability, you have a prosthetic, you have something, a traumatic brain injury, something, what's standing in your way of having a complete experience. And so that's why it's called Mission No Barriers. Basically to inform our work plan, but also to meet a lot of veterans from around the country and have them go back to their communities and talk about what this community is doing. One of the main things I want you to take away from this presentation today is a really sense of pride. What we've discovered is that the American spirit that was alive in World War II when people did rationing and the general community of civilians had to support the troops that were overseas in World War II. The way they came together to do the civilian what should I say? I lost the word. Participation, contribution, be part of the war effort. That is still alive. But you can't just be driving down the street and see a billboard that says support the troops and go, oh, well, what does that mean I'm supposed to do? What we do at the Warrior Resource Center, because we realize that this community spirit is still alive, is we give the opportunity of ways, tangible ways to support the troops. And it can be as simple as sharing your own life experience. We have people who need to help writing a business plan, or they need to understand how to navigate their bank account. Sometimes they need a little legal advice. You know, we have a community here of retired individuals who all have something to share from their own experience, and there's veterans coming out. I don't think the general public understands that it's not the job of the Veterans Administration to create healthy civilians. Their job is to create warriors and warfighters. Our job is to integrate them back into our community to contribute and be strong leaders. And so that's what we try to do. So when we say we're looking for volunteers, we're looking for your own experience. We're looking for you to come into the Warrior Resource Center and say, I have this experience and I can offer this. Or I understand that somebody who is newly, okay, thank you, discharged, is kind of lost. And probably when they look at the ocean of paperwork that they have to fill out for their benefits and that kind of thing, they could really use some assistance. It's really hard to face a mountain of paperwork when you're not even in the mood and you don't know where to start. So if you can just come alongside and help in that way, I mean, we need every kind of help. But that's what I'm trying to say, is there's a lot of ways to support the troops, and if it's in your heart to want to do it, please walk in the door and we will give you a really good assignment suited just to you. Something measurable, attainable, not take too much of your time, just use your experience, okay? So I'm going to turn this over to April, who had a kind of an experience on her own between Operation Song. Who's going to talk about Operation Song? And is someone keeping track of time for us? Judy Ann? How much time do we have left?
You're at 8:33.
Oh, okay, good. So we're good.
You have 15 minutes and then we'll go into questions.
Okay, that's great. So I'm going to turn you over to April Hurd, a Georgia peach, who's been with our organization for 2 years, and she's so invaluable. So you'll see her showing up in there, but I want you to see some of the great things that they did during Mission No Barriers. This year we split it up. We did a week for men, and then the second week we did a week for women. We've never done that before. My favorite was the girls, I gotta say. But anyway, you'll see what they did. Here's April.
So first of all, I want to thank the Realtor Association for helping me with the transportation. They had a group of realtors that set up, you seen in the slide a while ago, and welcomed all the veterans to Montrose. So I had them do an after adventure review to see how we had done. And everybody was impressed with the community of Montrose. So one of our participants about the community potluck, what a great town and a group of people, so much food, really nice to meet people and see how much support there is from the community. These ladies and men were talking about when they come home from Iraq or Afghanistan, how they might have had a small parade, some of them had nothing. And when they came here, they got the biggest welcome they've ever had in their entire life. So we did many activities during the week. We partnered with TASP out of Telluride and got to take both groups to Uray Hot Springs and do some scuba diving. A lot of them were very impressed and excited about the scuba diving, and it actually helped quite a few of them break some barriers and some fears that they had. And that was one of the great things about the Mission No Barriers, is me being able to see these guys and gals that you look at and don't realize what they have buried deep inside. We had 2 ladies that were really, really scared of the scuba diving because it was like they said, they were hesitant as breathing underwater is not natural. So, and that was a barrier that they overcame. We have one lady veteran that was so impressed with the Montrose community and the way that everybody stepped up and was involved in the activities and things that she had a conversation with Mike and took our affiliate program back to Pennsylvania because she wants to start an organization just like Welcome Home Alliance for Veterans in her community, because being able, she said she would go to work and come home and that's where she stayed. She has 4 little girls that she's raising and her husband, and she said that she just don't mix with the civilian people as well as she does with military. We had another guy that was so impressed by our Project Healing Waters and Gunnison Gorge anglers, helping them learn to fly fish, that he's been in touch with me the past couple of days, and I'm trying to help him contact Project Healing Waters close to him, because he is wanting to start a Project Healing Waters in their area to help veterans just step outside their comfort zone and do some fly fishing. So during our Men's Week, we had 3 Vietnam veterans, and one of them touched my heart really majorly. He has dementia and Parkinson because of Agent Orange. And the Vietnam veterans touched my heart because my dad suffers too. And when he got home with his friend Roy, which is an amputee, the one with the Parkinson's, his daughter sent me a message. And she said, my dad and Roy were beaming when I picked them up from the airport. They said all the way home it was the absolute best camp and they adore you. They said everything was absolutely wonderful. Thank you for bringing so much joy to my father. It is really difficult having him have to live my life each day. Going to work with me, he gets bored. These camps give him a feeling of independence and a break from me, which really helps. It means so much. It also gave my husband and I an opportunity to go on a date. Thank you for all that you do for our veterans and their families, and I hope to meet you someday. Sounds like I could learn a lot from you to help enhance some of the camps we provide at Adaptive Adventures. Those are the types of veterans that touch us and that we try to help heal by bringing them out here for Mission No Barriers. But it's not just that, it's the support of the community that they see in Montrose that makes them want to go back and start a program in their area. So thank you to all of Montrose and our supporters and our volunteers, because y'all made the 2 weeks of Mission No Barriers a great event.
Hey, so right now you're seeing the women's week. This is a perfect chance for me to get back on the thing, because we have women. I thought you were going to talk about 4 of the women that were here served together in Iraq, and they were kind of reunited here. And it was really fun to have them. Their job, they were military police, and they were guarding the high target, or the high risk prisoners, the ones, you heard of that, the deck of cards with 52 faces. They met some of those 52 faces. But this, I just want to point out this really fun adventure. One of the days, they had a makeover at the Warrior Resource Center. Now picture this. I mean, these are some pretty seriously tough women, all the way from the Vietnam era to the most recent conflicts in the War of Terror. And here they are, getting all jazzed up because there's a surprise in store for them. And the surprise you're about to see, this is Mary. Did you read about Mary in the newspaper the other day? How old is Mary?
96.
She's 96, World War II. So here they are, all jazzed up after Dottie's dames got a hold of them and gave them the makeover, because they were on their way to Western Gravel to drive heavy equipment. And here's Amy and April all jazzed up at Western Gravel. They were so great. They got to climb up on all the machines. They got to move gravel and move sand and drive this stuff. And when they got to Western Gravel, unbeknownst to us, we didn't know that they were going to be all dressed up like this. We knew that they were going to have makeup and hair, but I had no idea they were going to be wearing dresses while they were doing this. So they posed for some shots over there that we're going to turn into a calendar, which is pretty exciting. And we do that as a fundraiser. So they had a blast. And the Western Gravel, just to give you an example of what a community can do, they printed t-shirts for them, they had hard hats for them, they had a party with gifts and everything, and you could see from the photos that they had a blast. I know, isn't that great? You know, we're seeing these pictures ourselves for the first time. Like I said, this is like 2 days, it's only been over for 2 days. But, oh my gosh. Well, we wanted to do something different with the women than we've ever done with a mixed group or the men. So this turned out to be something that we'll do again. There they are with the group. Western Gravel has 7 veterans that they employ as part of their staff. And, and then they're back at the ranch now. Here they are, they're throwing axes. There's like A for Army and for Navy. They try to hit their own branch there with it. The ranch is just south of town. It belongs to Tim and Trish Kenny, who is also a combat veteran, and it's a really pleasant place to be able to be. And this is the last night that the women were here. There we are. And each of the veterans who came to visit were presented a ceremonial eagle head cane that we'll tell you about some other time when we haven't already taken too much of your time. But everyone got a cane, and this is them receiving it. And inscribed on the cane is their name and the dates of their service and their medals and everything. Everyone is hand carved and personalized. It's an old Civil War tradition that's carried on to this day. Oh my gosh, they were cute. I mean, I'm sorry. They were adorable, actually. And I loved meeting them. And so that's the end of what we were able to just throw together for you about Mission No Barriers. It touched everybody's hearts. And everybody, the men during the men's week and the women during the women's week bonded in a special way, because when they go home to civilian life, they don't have each other's back. They don't have a group like they have here in Montrose, because most cities don't have a Warrior Resource Center that's open every day, and that it's meant, and camaraderie is so huge. So, Judy,
Talk about Operation Song.
okay, I'm going to let Mike talk about Operation Song. At the beginning of this, you saw some people playing guitars, and we didn't get a chance to explain what was going on. So that happened at the Bridges, and Mike's going to tell you about it.
For those of you that weren't there on Wednesday evening, sorry, you missed one heck of an evening. Last fall, Dr. David Good, psychiatrist here in town, came to me, and he recently came back from a reunion back in his hometown of Arkansas. And he started telling me about a program that he ran into that one of his high school buddies was part of. And it had to do with music therapy. And I knew a little bit about it, of course, but after we talked tonight, then I wanted to do a little more research, which I did. But one of the gentleman he was talking to, his name was Steve Dean. Steve Dean, along with Don Goodman and a few other Nashville songwriters, put together what's called Operation Song a few years ago. The intent is to work with veterans to get their story and to write a song related to that story. These songwriters, as I learned, some of Nashville's top songwriters over the past few years, and they, am I breaking up or is that just me? But anyway, they've written #1 hits for a lot of country music artists over the years. So I was very impressed with their resumes and like that. So we started putting together a program how we could get them out here to actually work with our veterans. And what it is, it's a 3-day retreat. The first day they come in and we meet with the veterans who are going to talk with the songwriters. And they get kind of comfortable with each other. The next day they pair off in the morning. And the songwriters and the veterans tell their story. And the songwriters will then at that time put together in music through that day a song related to that story. And on the second evening, after they wrote the songs, we had a dinner, and that's where friends and families of the veterans, we got together over at the Resource Center, and they played their songs. And I gotta tell you, it's pretty powerful stuff. Then on Wednesday, we were fortunate enough to have Eric and Beth Feely provide us with the bridges for our event, for the concert. They did a heck of a job putting it together for us. And that's Dottie's names. Those are the gals that help, the pinup girls that help the ladies in the barriers. But you can see that it was a pretty decent crowd. We estimated right around 300 folks came out that evening. It was a free concert. Of course, we asked, donations appreciated kind of thing. But there they are. They're the songwriters. There's 6 of them. Don Goodman's standing there in front talking, but the 2 men on the end, right there is Steve Dean, the first one. And then there's a picture of kind of the group afterwards. We were able to take them down to Ridgeway to show them where the Grammys are made, and they got blown away by all that. But I gotta tell you, prior to them coming out here, my research told me that song therapy is pretty powerful medium, especially in the veteran world. So I was very excited about the opportunity to be able to bring them out here. And we were able to do that because of you all. That concert, I gotta tell you, the concert, those of you that were there and everyone else, I don't think anybody left without being touched somewhere along the line that night. Pretty powerful stuff. And I gotta tell you too, these guys are great performers. It was a great evening, so we will have them back. Put it on the calendar, July 15th next year. It's already set.
Thank you. Thank you. That was an amazing evening. I was impressed, pretty much the audience listened to every word of those songs. It wasn't going and just hearing the concert. Everybody was impressed with the words, not only of the songs that were written about our local people, but also the songwriters did some very special songs that they got big accolades for. It was amazing. So if you ever see Operation Song anywhere in the United States, I urge you to attend.
Yeah, we have our own website set up, Operation Forum Colorado. So go on that website and you'll see a lot more about it.
Okay, let's have questions. I'm giving them the hampered because of no mic. So you want to ask questions? Right, but 17 needs to do.
Let me try and see if I can make this one work.
Okay. So, questions? Wow. Quiet, whoa. Nobody wants to ask a question? Yes, sir.
Julian, here, I think I can hold this one.
Okay,
How
that's
was it?
great. Thank you.
The veterans that came to Montrose, both men and the women, how are these particular veterans selected to be the ones to come out?
We sent out information, letting them know what the event is, what it's about, and like that. They fill out a bio that they send to us at that time. And through that information, we're able to select the veteran to come out and participate. And along with that information comes their DD 214, which is their discharge papers. And they do have to have honorable discharge as well.
I have a question. I know you've changed facilities. How has your new facility benefited what you're trying to do, and is it adequate? Do you need to grow it? You mentioned community-free lunches, and I see that Christ Kitchen has just announced they're gonna have to find a new place or shut down. So first facilities and then the lunches.
Being able to purchase you hear me? Okay. Being able to purchase our own building, which was an ordeal. We ended up with a USDA loan that took almost a year in the making. There's a lot of paperwork. But what it did is it gave us an opportunity to have a sense of permanence and to not have a landlord, and to actually have a better cash flow. By owning it, it's actually costing us less than renting it. And we have a wing of our new building. The building's 7,100 square feet, and we're using 5,400 square feet of it right now. The other wing is rented to a tenant who pays a substantial amount of rent and helps us every single month, which is really good. It's not our intention to replace or supplement any kind of programs that are already in place. Our job is to strengthen them. So what we would do is come alongside Shepherd Hand, come alongside Christ Kitchen, and continue to create the awareness that veterans need in the community and help how we can with our own partnerships. But we don't want to be what they are. We just want to help them do better at what they do. Is that what you were wondering? Yeah. So and they support us and we support them in a big way, and that's what the partnerships are about. You know, we've talked about what we're doing at the Warrior Resource Center and the accomplishments that we have and the services that we provide. We talked about the fun that we try to give veterans, but what we didn't talk about is the future. And I just want to spend a minute talking about that, and you might have some questions about that. We could sustain exactly like we are. We have the funding to do it from our community support and our donations, and we could maintain a Warrior Resource Center and be kind of a social gathering place for camaraderie and stop there, but that's not our plan. There are some serious problems that need to be addressed, and I don't want you to walk away thinking that no veterans thrive when they come home from war. There's a lot of people who come back to families that welcome them, and they come back to successful careers, and they do just fine, but there's so many that don't. And we see people in need of housing, we see people in need of jobs, and they don't know where to go. And that's the direction that we want to grow. So we have actually three things. We have the affiliate program, which is a step-by-step way for other communities to do what we've done without having to encounter the problems that we solved for them already. So other communities of individuals that think that something like this might thrive in their town have a roadmap that we didn't have, that we've laid out, and that's what our affiliate program is. So we want to grow the affiliate program with outreach. The other thing we have is the Dream Job program, and those of you who know what we've done in the early years, we did a Dream Job pilot program. That involves inviting 4 individuals from Walter Reed or from one of the other hospitals that are just about ready to be medically discharged and have an idea of what they might want to do, but they don't know if they can, they don't know if they'll like it, and we want to catch them before the bad things that we're talking about happen, before people end up depressed and isolated and then homeless and then suicidal. We want to prevent that. We don't want to just treat the aftermath. We want to prevent it. That's what the Dream Job program is. So we choose 4 individuals that have a sense of what they want to do and invite them to Montrose to stay here for 6 months. And in that 6 months, they serve every single day with a mentor in the field of their choice. And they learn what it would be like to live that job, what it would be like if they decide to go to college and pursue that career. And they gain valuable information about it and about the field, about their own ability to do that kind of thing, whether they really want to or not. And it's a real practical no-fail application before you go out in the world where you could get fired or you could be stuck in a situation where you found yourself. It's just a chance, a heads up kind of a chance. So the Dream Job program is real important to us, and now that we've been through a pilot program, we've learned a lot. We had 4 come, spend 6 months. Some of them are still here in the community, some are not. They've gone on to live their lives in other places. The other thing is the veteran co-housing. We're looking for 10 to 20 acres where we could build some houses that would address the housing that we need for the Dream Job program, because for that first 6 months we pay all their expenses while they're here as far as housing and utilities and that kind of thing. So we need a place to be able to do that, to be able to successfully do this every 6 months. We need our own housing for that. And then they need to be able to graduate out of that into affordable housing for another year so that they can be in our community for 18 months and then make some real good decisions about their life. And in a veteran co-housing situation like we're talking about, there would be the 3 dream job houses and then another 20 houses that would be affordable to rent for military families. And it's nice because they'd all be living almost like in a compound. And so it's like an easy step into civilian life. And after they've been in Montrose for 18 months, they have completed that and have much better feeling about the success that they could enjoy as they go on, whether they stay and buy a house and contribute to our community or whether they go and contribute to another community. So those are the future plans. It's the housing, it's the Dream Job program, and it's the affiliate program. That's what we need money for. That's what we need support for. Like I said, we can sustain the Warrior Resource Center just fine as we are, but it's not enough. So we need to grow and we need help from everywhere, and we're looking for help from everywhere. Yes, Judy?
One last question.
Do you work with any national organizations like Operation Home Montrose? Anybody else?
No, we're not affiliated with anybody, any government agency. We are just homegrown, and I think a lot of that, our success is a result of that, because we don't have any ties with any government agencies or anybody. We don't have dues, so we're doing pretty well on our own, frankly. So a lot of these organizations do come to us and give us opportunities for our veterans to be involved with them, and certainly we direct them to that. But a lot of them are activity-oriented and like that.
Well, thank you very much. We are out of time, sorry.